Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our DP What's Cooking webinar. I'm going to start off with Narosha from NCL. Hi Narosha.
Morning everyone.
Narosha, I thought we'd talk about the Haven today. So how would you best describe the Haven and who do you think it's best suited to?
So Haven is NCL's luxury product. It's definitely a sanctuary at sea, giving guests, especially luxury guests, the opportunity to explore the best of both worlds, from the exclusivity of the Haven to the excitement of the rest of the ship. Our Haven guests get to enjoy stepping out into their own private area and then also having the flexibility and having access to the rest of the ship as well. So it's definitely something that especially luxury guests, they want to feel exclusive. So it's definitely a secluded luxury area on the ship.
So would you say it's suited to those kind of sort of passengers, your luxury?
Absolutely. A luxury client definitely has the taste and the budget. They want to feel special. They want us to, make them feel like they are the special guests on the ship. So it's any passenger is a luxury client, any age group, whether it's a young couple, an older couple, any families, just anyone looking for exclusivity or privacy, and then also the flexibility and choice of having the exclusive area as well as moving out into the rest of the ship as well.
Okay, fantastic. And do all ships have the Haven?
So majority of our ships have the Haven. The only one that's very popular for our region, which is the Dawn, doesn't yet have the Haven, but you can literally say it's almost every single ship across the fleet. They are bringing in the Haven into every single ship. The Dawn should have it soon, but for now, it's majority of the ships.
Okay, fantastic. And do you have access to the Haven if you're another passenger on the ship?
So all guests have access to the Haven if invited by one of the suite guests. However, they'll only have access into that suite. So if you're a guest in a Haven suite, you can invite any other guest into your suite. However, they won't have access to the public areas like the lounge or the bar or the pool, any of the deck areas.
Okay, brilliant. Super. Thanks so much, Narosha. That's very clear, and I think it's a beautiful product and something we can really push out there.
Perfect. Thank you.
So hi everybody, and today we have some really exciting experiences again for you. As you know, we love to have special guests on board. So I have got my esteemed colleagues or teammates with me. I've got Narosha back by popular demand from last week, and I've got Tas as well. And today what we're actually going to do is we're going to have an informal chat about 3 ship experiences we each had. So we've each been ruined because we've been on luxury cruises, and I'm sure you girls can vouch for that. Harshie, on mute.
Hi everyone.
Hi. I thought I'd help you there. So we're going to really have a little casual chat. I went on Ponant. I was lucky enough to go on Ponant to Greece, which was absolutely beautiful. I mean, I felt like I was a 5-star client. It had beautiful French flair. It was just the most stunning experience. Harsh and Tas, look, I nearly got your names mixed up there. Which ships did you do, and how did you sort of feel when you first experienced those cruise lines?
So, Shells, I had the amazing opportunity to sail on the Oceania Riviera with my mom. So it was honestly a trip of a lifetime for me. And to be honest with you, when you on a 5-star cruise ship, you expect to be pampered, and you're looking for class and the elegance and sophistication, and Oceania was everything that you expect from a 5-star cruise liner. So yeah, I was absolutely impressed and blown away.
Brilliant. And Tassie, what did you do?
Hey Charles, so I embarked my luxury cruise, which is the Regent 7 Voyager in Monte Carlo, which, as you know, is one of the richest cities in the world. So for me, from the time I stepped off the plane, I entered a completely different world. It was the most all-inclusive luxury experience of my life. I did this trip with one of my colleagues, Bev, so it was amazing. And the 7 Voyager is one of 5 ships in our fleet, and it takes only 700 passengers, so it's quite nice and small and intimate. And just one thing about Regent, which is amazing is that it's all inclusive. So all your drinks, all your gratuities, your Wi-Fi, you have unlimited excursions, everything is all included. So once you step on board the ship, you don't actually need to take out your wallet or your credit card for any other expenses. It's all included.
Oh, brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're looking at these three products, we've obviously got Ponant, which is much smaller. So we call it like a yacht type of sailing. You know, and if you look at the size, just before we go on, how did you find the size of your ships? You know, were they quite large, or do you think they're still quite intimate?
No, yeah, definitely boutique style cruising. Oceania only takes, the ship that I was on only took 1,250 guests, and you had 800 crew members. So the ratio between crew and passengers is quite high. So that's why you always feel, you know, pampered, and the service is impeccable, and yeah.
Yes, and the same as Ponant. I mean, that's just exactly how Ponant was. And Tazzy, how did you find Regent?
Exactly. So yeah, so like I said, it was 700 passengers, and the crew is 700. So you literally have one crew member to one passenger. So it's amazing. Yeah. So it's also small and intimate.
Yes,
Sorry?
you don't need for anything. Everything's just delivered. Hey?
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Wonderful. Guys, if we look at the cabin, so you know, what for me was such a great experience was to get onto Ponant, and your luggage was already in the cabin. I mean, that for me was just mind blowing. You know, normally you've got to wait for luggage, and our cabins were really beautifully appointed, lovely white sort of decor, which I really liked about Ponant. And of course, every cabin has a balcony, which is a huge selling point on Ponant. And then the other thing is that they do have suites, and then they have one owner suite on board. And the owner suite is like an apartment. I mean, I was lucky enough to see it, and it was just, it blew my mind. You know, it's got a lounge, it's got a dining room, bath, etc., etc. So it's good to know that, you know, on cruise ships you can get a bath, but it has to be owner suite. Whereas on the normal standard cabin, on Ponant, it's a shower and toilet, but what's nice is it is separate anyway. How did you find your cabins, girls?
So for me, I was very fortunate. I got to stay in a concierge level veranda cabin. So again, absolutely beautiful, spacious cabins. Bathroom was absolutely stunning. So we had a separate bath, a separate shower. And the best part about the bathroom was Bulgari amenities. So that was me every day filling my bag with the Bulgari amenities. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. So with Oceania, you do get, it starts from an inside cabin all the way up to an owner suite. But it doesn't matter which cabin you're in, you really do feel pampered. You are really taken care of. So yeah, definitely.
Lovely. And I'm sure, Taz, you must be on another level because
definitely. So, Shell, Bev and I were booked in the leading category type, which is called a deluxe suite. So all the cabins on Regent also have balconies, so you don't have an inside ocean view. And our cabin, what was really nice was that we had, so we had our 2 twin beds. We had a separate walk-in closet, so our suitcases, so when you check in, you have your room steward, he'll help you unpack your clothes, put it in your walk-in closet so you don't ever see your suitcases, and it's all closed, so your clothing is like you don't have view of it, it's separate. And the bathroom for me, which was also quite nice, like I said, we were in the leading category type on the ship. We had a separate shower and a separate bathtub, which on other cruise lines you only get it in like suites and that. So this, from your standard balcony, you have a separate bath, a separate shower. So that was really nice for me. And also upon embarkation, they give you a complimentary bottle of champagne as well. And it was Bev's birthday, so we had a nice big birthday cake in the room as well. So it was really nice, yeah.
So it's really got those exceptional touches. Yes,
same with Oceania. You also get a complimentary bottle of champagne.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
Needless to say, Bev drank the bottle herself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm surprised you're highlighting that. Oh no, that's brilliant. And of course, the thing I have to talk about is the food, because for me on Ponant, I mean, just the choice of food, and you know, you were spoiled for choice. The buffet. So there's 2 restaurants. There's a buffet restaurant where you have your breakfast, lunch, and you can have dinner. And then there's a sit-down dinner, a separate restaurant, which is obviously seated. You've got to pre-book that, and then you'll have a 3-course pre-plated meal. But absolutely out of this world. The highlight for me was the buffet. You just, as I mentioned, sport for choice, and the one night they actually had a seafood braai on board as well, which was so different, you know, right on deck. So,
Yeah.
you know, fresh French bread every morning. It was just magnificent. And as you can see, we have verve on ours, so our champagne was really very smart.
That sounds amazing, Charles. So with Oceania, the best part about Oceania for me was, you know, generally on your other cruise liners, you have to pay to go and eat at a specialty restaurant. With Oceania, you don't. So you are able to eat at a different restaurant for dinner every night that you're on board on a 7-night cruise, for example. They've got seven restaurants. So you've got your main dining room where you can have breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then you've got your more casual dining, which is your terrace cafe and your Waves Grill. And Waves Grill, it's normally when you're laying at the pool and you want a burger, not just a normal burger, gourmet burger with truffle fries. That's the place to be. And then there's 4 specialty restaurants, which is Red Ginger, which is the Asian fusion type of restaurant. You've got Jacques, which is up your alley, which is a French type restaurant. And then you've got Toscana, Italian, and you've got Polo Grill, which is the steakhouse. So for all of those, you don't have to pay a surcharge. You just have to make a reservation and you can have dinner. And then they also have afternoon tea, which is very classy. And in-room dining, you also don't pay a surcharge for that. So that was stunning. The only thing with Oceania is that your drinks are not included. So you've got your non-alcoholic beverages included in your price. So you can have soft drinks, juices, water, tea, coffee, all of that's included. But what they do have is something called the O Life promotion. So you can choose. So what that is basically you've got 4 perks, and you get free internet, which is included regardless of your categories that you booked in. And then you can choose one of your 3 perks. So you can either choose a house select beverage package, or free shore excursions, or a shipboard credit. So you could make it an all-inclusive cruise.
All-inclusive.
You want.
Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant. And then Regent, Tas, I'm sure you mentioned earlier, was all-inclusive. So does that mean literally everything?
Literally all-inclusive. So on Regent, they have one main dining room and 2 specialty restaurants, which is obviously you don't need to pay for these. They've got one with French cuisine, also down at Ellie Shells, and one with American steakhouse cuisine. And there's no extra cost for this. Like I said, your drinks are also included. No matter what you drink, how much you drink, it's all inclusive. And they also have a buffet at the top deck, as well as a pool, bar and grill, which is very nice as well. I had my first salmon burger there, which was amazing as well.
Fantastic.
So yeah, so all the meals are all included, even specialty dining restaurant, all drinks, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, everything is all included. So like I said, you can drink as much as you want. You're not paying anything for it. No gratuities, nothing. It's all included.
So right up your alley, Tas, all inclusive.
Yeah, definitely. The alcohol. Yeah,
exactly. Just before we go on with Ponant as well, your alcohol is all inclusive, but how they work is they have a tier sort of system. So you can have champagne and whiskey, whatever you want. But if you really go to your premium brands, you pay extra for that. But I mean, you definitely didn't need to worry about premium brands. And also there was 24-hour room service, which was included. So I think that's a nice selling point, that you could literally sit in your room if you wanted to and have dinner or lunch or whatever the story is. So they're on a par in that sort of range, but you'll see some are more inclusive than the others. I think that's where each one's positioned.
Yes.
Great. And then if we look at excursions, because for me excursions are always a big question as to, do you need to take the excursions? Don't you? What happens if they're not included? The great thing with Ponant is because we went to such tiny little ports, where your big cruise liners can't go in, I found that you didn't need to take any excursions, even though they're offered. You can really just get off and you go to the local little village, you go to the local beach. I mean, I traveled to Gina, for those of you who don't know, and it was wonderful. The one day we just literally went and sat on the beach the whole day with the locals, and you walked back to the ship. So, yes, you could do excursions, but in my opinion on Ponant, it's not a necessity. Harsh, how did you find that on Oceania?
The exact same, Shell. So my mom and I just literally did our own thing. I was very fortunate. It's the same as Oceania, because they're smaller. They get to go to all the little ports that you won't necessarily do on your bigger ships. So on our cruise, we started in Barcelona. We went to Mallorca, Sete, a little fishing village in France. Monte Carlo was my absolute best.
Oh, beautiful.
Portofino, Cinque Terre, Florence, and then Rome. So it was absolutely stunning. And again, we just did our own thing. I mean, they do have Oceania. You can pre-book your shore excursions if you'd like. At the time of booking, once you've paid in full, you can go online and pre-book your shore excursions. Or they do have a shore excursions desk on board the ship, and you can book your shore excursions there. But because they're smaller ports, as you said, you can go and explore on your own. Yes. And what was really nice about Oceania is in Mallorca, they had complimentary shuttle buses that was taking you into town. So that was quite a nice thing with them. And also with Monte Carlo, we just took the hop on hop off. So that was absolutely amazing. And the unique thing about Oceania, they always try and do one port where you can experience the nightlife in a port. So for us, that was Monte Carlo, and we could experience the nightlife there. And we only got back on board the ship at about 10 o'clock, and the ship only left at 11 o'clock at night. So it was
excellent.
Stunning.
Yeah, that's a big selling point, because often cruise liners leave, sort of 4 p.m, and you're almost rushed for time, to get back. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And Taz, yours, you said are inclusive, am I correct?
Oh, all inclusive, 100%. So like Ponant and Oceania, Regent is small, so it's a smaller ship, so you can go to the smaller ports as well. I embarked in Monte Carlo, and like how she says as well, the ship overnighted in Monte Carlo, so you get to experience the nightlife as well, which was really amazing. And with Regent, like I said, it's all inclusive, and they have the luxury buses to also come to the port and collect all the passengers, and the excursions are smaller amounts, so you don't have like 50 passengers doing the same excursion. They have in our group, we used to have I think we're maximum about 25 passengers, and you have your own private tour guide that shows you around and that. So the excursions are unlimited, and you've got a variety to choose from. And sometimes, depending which port you're at, you could even do 2 excursions. So and it's all luxury. They have their headsets, so they explain it to you in English. Or if you don't speak English, they have different languages available as well. So it's really amazing. And like I said, all inclusive.
Yes. And Harsh, so just on the excursions, would you recommend that people pre-book it? Did you find, or do you find that an essential thing, or is it okay to just choose when you're on board?
Charles, I definitely would recommend passengers look at the excursions online, just to see, if there are any that they would want to do. And availability is always, important, because you might not get availability when you book on board. So it's always a good idea, if there is 1 or 2 that you really, really want to do and you're interested in, I would recommend pre-booking them. But you can do it on board as well. So it's completely
and same as Ponant. Ponant being smaller, it's quite easy to do it on board. That's what I did find if you did want to do an excursion.
And same with our Shells. Bev and I, we booked it on board the ship. And with Regent, because the groups are smaller, if they need to add on another like the same excursion to do 2 groups, they would do it as well. That happened to us in Florence. So we did the same excursion, but they had it over 2 groups. So you can on board the ship.
So very flexible on what they need to do to suit the passenger.
Correct. Basically. Correct. 100%.
What would you say the dress style is? So on Ponant, we were very lucky, although it's French, and you would assume it's going to be quite sort of, what's the word, like almost stuck, that kind of, you've got to dress a certain way. It definitely wasn't. I found dinners and that were country club style, so you didn't have to wear a jacket or anything, but the men kind of wore a jacket if they wanted to, but with chinos, and but no ties and that. And I think that's an important selling point, because when you're on a sort of a Greek cruise and you're in the Med, and I went in summer, which was absolutely beautiful, you want to be able to wear a sundress or wear a nice dress, or that kind of thing. So the only thing I would recommend on Ponant is you don't wear shorts and slops to dinner. But other than that, on the ship, you are welcome to wear whatever you want. You know, there's no, it's not sort of stuck up like that you have to wear a certain thing. How was Oceania, Harsh?
Same. I honestly didn't feel like I was underdressed at any time. You know, you always a little bit scared that you're not dressed appropriately, you know, for dinner and things like that. But honestly, I wore summer dresses. I even wore jeans and a nice top with a jacket, you know. So again, also very country club, casual, smart casual. And I mean, honestly, if you don't want to dress up, I mean, it's nice to dress up on a cruise.
Yes,
you know, you do want to dress up. So you want to have 1 or 2 evenings where you want to put on your cocktail dress and heels and, you know. But honestly, you not, it's not, as you said, you know, where you feel uncomfortable and forced, you know. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely no flip-flops and shorts, unfortunately. But yeah, it's the same as Ponant.
Oh, brilliant. And Tas, how was Regent?
On Regent shells, you would think because of luxury, you think you would need to dress up. But it was also, I mean, during the day we had jeans and t-shirts on, and in the evening for dinner it was also smart casual. So cocktail dresses was perfectly fine. And the men had, some of them had suits on with no tie, some just had a formal pants with a shirt. So also, and that's just if you're going to the main dining room and the specialty dining rooms. At the pool bar or the buffet style, it was more relaxed, but also no flip-flops and shorts during meal times, but otherwise quite casual.
Quite casual on that. So just a point to bring up quick, which Gail actually just sent me a message, which is important, is that kosher, do you know on all the cruise ships if kosher is catered for? I know on Ponant you got a pre-order, so most cruise ships I think are like that, but they wouldn't be halal. So how did you find that, you know, from a meal point of view? I know you vegetarian, Harsh. Was it all suited? And Tas, obviously, you know, did you ever find that you were stuck on meals?
100% Shell. So I have vegetarian, and the first day we embarked, the waiter knew that, and every other day they somehow recognize your face and they just knew. So when they brought the menu to me, they just showed me the vegetarian food basically. Like I said, I don't drink alcohol, so they even knew I would have a glass of Coke with my meals and that. So they don't have a kosher or halal kitchen on board the ship, but we can request the meals. It's not always confirmed, but we can request it, but it's definitely no problem. I mean, they had lots of seafood and lots of vegetarian dishes as well. So there's no problem with food.
I was going to say, even ours, there's never an issue on what to eat.
Same with Oceania.
Yeah, let's just talk about, and sort of to end off with an outstanding feature. I mean, if I think of Ponant, you know, being small and intimate, my 2 outstanding things that I experienced was the fact that you could go to the bridge at any time to see the captain. So they're very open with that. And we actually stood, you know, with him while we were going to one of the ports, which is just brilliant to be able to, you know, watch that happen. And then the other thing was, it's up to the captain whether he is allowing this or not, but they often port in a small little sort of cove, and you can actually swim off the back of the ship. So you can see that picture of the back of the ship. And they cordon off an area, so they obviously have lifeboats and things like that, and you swim in the sea. And I mean, that for me was just incredible, because it was literally in the deep, dark blue sea, and you swim around and, you know, obviously get back into the ship. So that for me was a very incredibly unique, outstanding experience. Harshi, what would you have sort of said from yours?
So for me, I absolutely loved the spa. I mean, after a day of walking around, all you want to do is just have a bit of a relax. So I used to go into the steam room, saunas and the jacuzzis and just let off some steam, as they say. But also the 2 very unique features that I found on Oceania was the culinary experience, where you actually, what they do is they've got a cooking studio. So it is at a surcharge. So you in a port, say in an Italian town, you go off with a professional chef, and off you go into the markets and go and buy the freshest produce, your meats, your cheeses, your fruits, vegetables, etc. And then you come back on board and you cook this gourmet meal. So it was absolutely, that is a complete unique experience. And then they've also got something called the Artist Loft, where you can, again, something memorable that you can take back home. paint on a canvas, you know, an experience of what you experience on board, and again with a professional artist, and you can take that home with you. So yeah, those two were
that's brilliant.
quite unique for me.
That's fantastic.
That sounds amazing, Harsh.
Yeah. And yours, Taz?
For me, Shells, the one thing that I take away from Regent is that it's what they say, but you have to experience it, is that with Regent, it's not what you pay to get on board the ship, it's what you pay at the end. And that's because you pay absolutely nothing. When you disembark that ship, you do not have a bill that comes through to your stateroom, or upon checkout, you need to see how you just literally can walk off the ship. You don't have anything to pay. So that was amazing. Yeah. So for me, it's not what you pay to get on, it's what you pay to get off.
Absolutely.
So,
that's quite unique to Regent, because on Oceania, one thing, Shells, is gratuities are not included. So you do have to pay for gratuities on board the ship. And part of the O-Life, if you choose the shipboard credit, then you could probably pay your gratuities part of the shipboard credit. Yeah, like, you know, with Regent, it's completely
all inclusive.
Yes,
100%. Yes.
And then the nice thing with Ponant as well, I mean, gratuities are not included, but they're not sticky at all. So it's entirely up to the passenger whether they want to pay a gratuity or not, which obviously you would want passengers to pay, but they don't make a scene about it. So it's just an interesting point that how each cruise line is quite different. So thank you, ladies. That was absolutely amazing. And I think we've had a clear sort of understanding of the different positionings of those three luxury brands and how each one is suited to different types of passengers.
Yes, definitely.
Great.
Thanks so much, Shelley.
Thanks, Charles. Thanks.
And I'm going to bring a special guest on board now, which is very exciting. And I think he's, there you are. And I just need to unmute yourself. There we go.
Hello, Shelley.
How are you?
Fantastic, thank you.
Brilliant. So today I've got Ramon with us. Ramon is a really, really good friend of mine, a very good friend of DP as well. I've known Ramon for a very long time, and we thought it'd be nice to bring Ramon on board. He's with 360 Degrees Travel, and just to sort of have a chat about your experiences about lockdown, which I think is something that we have all experienced different ways and different feelings. And I thought maybe just sort of, would you like to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your sort of background when it comes to travel?
Hello, Shelley. Hello, everyone. Yeah, interesting times we're in. Never experienced this in my life before, that's for sure. Absolutely. I started working in the ski resorts years ago in Neustift. I worked as a Contiki guide in Corfu, in Florence. I guided around the UK, also guided around the whole of Europe. So I had a wonderful time, you can imagine, because I'm quite a naughty little person. So you can imagine the ski resorts and the actual Contiki tours. And then Andre and I...
We could have a whole webinar of experiences.
Yeah. And then Andre and I started Seekers, and you know, eventually moved on, and I've been with 360 now for the last 12 years.
Brilliant, brilliant.
So that's the short intro.
Yeah,
Travel's in my blood. I love it, Shelley.
Excellent intro. I suppose my first question that I'm going to ask is, have, you know, all the time in travel, because we've been in travel a long time, have you ever experienced such, and I hate the word unprecedented, but that's what everyone's calling it, such an unprecedented time that we're going through now?
No, look, you know, we've had our challenges in the past, you know, 9/11 and those type of things. Just my view at the moment is, when the president told us about the lockdown, I bought into it 100%. I supported it. We'd been watching the news, we understood it, and it was totally acceptable. I've now got to the stage now where I find a lot of the rules and the laws are irrational. We are not children, okay? We are adults. And we know the risks, but you cannot keep us locked away forever, because you will eventually kill the economy. And I'll give you an example of, or an analogy. You know, if a swarm of bees attack you and you put your head under the water, all right, you will protect yourself from the bees.
Yes.
Okay? But you are 100% going to drown if your head is under the water all the time.
Yep.
You eventually have to come up for air. Okay. When you come up for air, you will have the risk of possibly being stung. And maybe 1% of us might be allergic to it and there might be a reaction. And the worst case scenario, someone dies. Okay. The bottom line, if you keep our heads under the water, we will drown. That's 100% guaranteed. We don't have gills. I might have grown gills during the lockdown, but, you know, because Eunice is an amazing cook. But the point is that we cannot carry on like this. We adults, and we need to be treated like adults, and we need to get the economy going again. And they must open up. How can you not allow people, how can you allow people onto taxis, okay, or into taxis, and then you've got to go through all these rigmaroles just to fly my son up from Cape Town?
No, that's the big thing, huh? Yeah.
You know, but anyway, let's talk about where we're going forward, because, you know, all of us are frustrated. All of us want to get on with it. We want to do what we're good at.
Absolutely.
And we adults, we know what the risks are.
Yeah.
We've read up enough. We've heard enough. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just...
No, I'm glad I've got a couch here for you, because clearly you've got a lot of passion about this. That's why we're talking today, because it's almost a very touchy subject, but very passionate subject. It's our jobs, it's our income and our livelihood, you know.
And, you know, Shelley, my team in the office here, we family.
Yeah.
You know, so for me to see how everyone's struggling and going through these difficult times, everyone in the office would walk through a field of landmines to get to the office, to be able to work, to be able to provide for their families. So, you know, I think we know the risks, but we're prepared to take the risks. And, you know, I believe that people are mature enough to know what is reasonable and what's not reasonable.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. So having said this, how did you feel when they said you're going into lockdown? Because I'm sure you were very, very passionate at that time about the situation. Given that, you know, you like to go out, you like to hang around with your friends, and that's the type of person you are. So how did you feel?
I bought into it 100%. I supported it. I was so strict about it. It was frustrating because I'd lent my indoor trainer to a friend of mine up in White River. So, you know, I eventually came out of the initial stages of lockdown like a tick. But
don't worry, we all did.
Yeah. And then when the next stage of the lockdown happened, when they started introducing illogical and irrational rules. Yeah. You know, I'm a very keen cyclist. It's my way of clearing my head. It's my way of getting out there and exercising and keeping myself healthy. Don't tell me that the virus attacks me at 9:01, okay? Yeah. I felt like a naughty schoolboy, like I was playing truancy if I was getting home past 9 o'clock in the morning from a cycle.
Absolutely.
You know, it was just irrational. And that's where, you know, when we start talking, I hate smoke. I detest smoking, right? But do I believe that it should be banned? Absolutely not. Let people smoke. Yeah. It is everyone else's decision. That I cannot understand. Now, let's not get on to the booze thing.
Yes, I was going to bring that up just now, so I'll wait for a moment for that. So, but I have to ask you, did you become part of the banana bread baking society? Because I'm sure you saw on Facebook, everyone baked a banana loaf when we were in level 5. I even did. So did you stoop to those levels or not?
No. My girlfriend Eunice is an amazing cook. So, you know, every evening was a culinary experience, and we'd shop properly, so we had all the ingredients. I was getting desperate towards the end with regards to, you know, having a drink and things like that.
Yeah.
I see this is recorded, so I've got to be careful about
Be careful
mentioning. Yes, but I did a few little illicit runs to pick up some liquid refreshments, short of licking the window for window lean or drinking hand sanitizer.
Exactly.
I did need one or two little beverages to keep me calm.
I'm sure you're not the first or the last that did that, Ramon. I think people became very innovative of what they needed to do if they needed alcohol. Positive of that. Tell me, what was, when sort of we went to level 2, sorry, not to level 2, I wish, to level 4, was the first thing a cycle? What did you sort of feel? Because then you were allowed to cycle, remember, between 6 and 6 or exercise. Were you happy to get out and just really, sort of have that freedom? Did it make a difference?
Yeah. Shelley, it was just amazing to be let out. And I think, look, over the initial period, it gives us time to reflect on what's important in our lives. And you can also stabilize the way you think about life and your values. So I thought it was a very, very good opportunity to say what is important in life and what are your value systems and things like that. So I found that it was a good time to reflect on what we assumed that was the norm, all the luxuries and all the indulgences, which we didn't really need.
Yeah.
They're nice, but we don't have to have them.
And I think we all managed to just do things that we hadn't done for a very long time, and as you say, reenact different things, whether it was cooking or whether it was baking or just realizing what was important and not. So if I was to sort of ask you a question from a point of view of travel, and I mean, I'm jumping around a bit to what you and I discussed, but how do you see travel sort of going forward? If we were allowed to travel again, do you think it's going to come back quickly? Do you think there's challenges that we're in for? What is your opinion on that? And I know it's a personal opinion, but how do you feel about travel? How do you see it?
Look, I'm going to use another analogy. During these times, it's like a felt fire. Every now and then you need a felt fire to come through to burn out all the weeds and get rid of all the rubbish. And the good, solid companies, businesses, and people will survive this. We will all survive this. We will get through it. But a good felt fire every now and then clears everything. And the strong and the healthy will actually get through this. But they cannot keep us under the water any longer.
Yeah.
It is totally irrational, okay? There are so many safety checks in place with regards to health issues. I hadn't seen my son, who's 17 years old. Hadn't seen him for 4 months because he was in Cape Town.
Yeah.
That is unhealthy.
Yeah.
That is very, very unhealthy. Why can we now go to a casino, okay, but we can't visit our friends?
Definitely.
Those are the illogical reasons. And I understand that government is trying to introduce laws which will apply to the whole population, okay? And people who are less fortunate than us, who don't have the facilities we have. But you know what? You can't keep us locked away because eventually we will start ignoring the rules and the regulations because they're illogical.
Yeah. And do you think people are ready to travel? I mean, in your opinion, sort of looking at your clients and that, are people waiting now to travel? And do you think that travel will come back quite quickly once we're up and running?
Most definitely. That I can assure you. The first thing I'm doing from my business point of view is I'm introducing what's the term? Sole use properties.
Oh, okay.
Where friends and family can go away and spend time together. You've all had your temperature taken. You're all comfortable and confident that everyone else is not compromised, because there's nothing worse than getting on, just say, a game drive vehicle, and you've got what I call curtain twitches. Do you know what curtain twitches are, Shelley?
I do not. I can
Those
only
people
imagine.
Those people who look through the curtain to try and see what everyone else is doing and reports them, right?
Oh, yes, the reporters. Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay. So people are going to want to spend time together. They're going to want to isolate. I, for instance, when I go cycling with my friends, we're 2 meters apart, we're 3 meters apart. There's no danger in doing that.
No.
So why can't people go and experience the bush?
Exactly.
But you don't want to be sitting on a game drive vehicle where you could possibly be putting someone else at risk, or you could have an unpleasant experience where someone tells you what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And you can't have dinner in the dining room. You've got to go and have it in your room.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that's where people are going to start moving. A lot of my clients are saying as soon as it opens, they're going to travel.
Good. That's good to know. And I mean, that's very reassuring. And Ramon, just to sort of finish off, if I was to ask you for a really brilliant nugget of knowledge, because I know you've got millions of them, which one would what would you sort of say? I mean, besides, we've spoken about the Feldfire, which I think is absolutely brilliant, but is there something else that you think from a travel industry point of view that you would just say to people to sort of hang in there? How do you keep yourself positive as a businessman, I guess, from that point of view?
Shelley, it's quite simple. The way we used to do things in the past will not be the way we do things in the future.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of us are going to be able to work a lot more from home. Clients will accept us being able to work from home. So I think big offices are going to be a thing of the past. Okay. I do believe that clients are going to move more towards dealing with travel agents again than dealing on the internet. I felt that a lot of them were extremely frustrated with a lack of feedback, lack of information, lack of updates they were getting from the principals. So I think travel agents will still have a role there.
Good.
I believe that the clients have experienced it now.
Yeah.
Why not pay a service fee for a service?
Yeah.
And you then get proper advice where the travel agent will be able to assist you. So I think, yes, we'll still be around, but it's going to be tough for the next few months.
Yeah, and a different picture, as you say. So
yeah,
brilliant.
Most definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much for your insight. I think it's been wonderful having you with us today. And yeah, you've brought a lot of, I think what a lot of us are feeling, you've put out there, and that's basically how we do all feel in the industry. So thank you for your time, Ramon. Much appreciated. And we'll
thank you, Shelley.
Pleasure. Take care.
And cheers, everyone. And you know what? I look forward to being able to mix and socialize with everyone again. I'm not a Zoom person, okay? I want to see people. I want to connect.
You did very good. Thanks, Ramon.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. So, guys, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Natalie. I've been the chef for the last couple of weeks, and I'm a little bit disturbed because I've offered her the opportunity and she's taken it to another level. But before we chat to Nat, I'm just going to quickly remind you, and I know it's Hurtigruten, which is not a luxury product, but it's certainly a luxury experience. And we've got a really brilliant special at the moment. It's save up to 45% on selected cruisings or cruises departure dates. So we will be sending that out to you this week with much more information, but just a quick heads up on that. So Nat, over to you, and I know you are going to take this to another level. So thank you everyone for your time, and Nat, take it away.
Ciao everybody, this is Natalia. We're broadcasting live from Muldersvlei Estate Lemon Farm, and today what we're going to do is Limoncello 101. It's easy, it's glorious, and we can all make it. So let's get started. What are you going to need? Some delightful organic lemons, as you can see, picked fresh from the orchard today. Very awesome. You need about 2 to 3 of those. It's better to get the organic, guys, because the ones in the store have that waxy film over it, so you don't want that to interfere with your good stuff that we're going to be making. We need about 250 grams of sugar, 750 mils of water fresh from the springs, and then 750 mils of the Russian good stuff. Okay, so first off, you're going to take your lemon, take a damp cloth, wipe that bad boy down. Then we're going to get to the good stuff. We need a peeler. Start peeling two or 3 lemons. Oh yes, I can smell that citrusy flavor coming through. What a delight. Oh yes, I can see fresh and organic. Now what we need to do, take an empty jar, gather all your peels that you've got over here, put this inside, right, okay. Then you get some of the Russian good stuff just to check that it's all right. Yep, definitely vodka. Right, pour that 750 ml straight in there. It's good for your immune system sometimes to drink vodka straight, so don't worry about it. Okay, excellent. Pop the lid on this guy. Leave that to ferment anything from 3 days to a month, depending on what you fancy. Luckily, we got the process started a while ago. So as you can see here, we've got the lemon peels and the alcohol has fermented. Let's give that a smell. Oh yes, that's the smell of success if you ask me. Right, what do we do next? You're going to take your 250 grams of sugar, pour that into this jar. You need a jar that has a little clicky lid on it. You'll see in a minute. Take your 750 ml of water, spring water if you can. All right, it's coming, don't worry. Patience is a virtue. All right, click it on. Make sure it's sealed, and you're going to shake it up. Shake it like you're making a little Italian cocktail or a Polaroid picture, that classic song from the 2000s. All right, there we go. Oh, yes. Look at that, looking great. Now for the good stuff. We're going to add our delightful fermented alcohol. A nice thin sieve if you've got. If not, you can just use a muslin cloth. Pour all the alcoholic goodness into here. Oh yes, that's looking good and it smells amazing. Thank you, Will Display Estate, for sponsoring the lemons. Very much appreciated. Get your wooden spoon, everyone's got one of those. Mix this bad boy up. Can you make sure that all that sugar is dissolved? Once that's ready, decanter into the bottle of your choice. Here we go, let's give this a go. Right, allora, let me try this boy. Some people like to have it as a digestive after dinner, but I find lockdown has been quite hard, so I prefer to just have, a whole glass full. Why not? But don't worry, this is a paper straw. Just in case you're interested, it's a perfect gift for Christmas in July that's coming up. Or this is the perfect adult way of how to get your vitamin C, to help with the winter blues. Let me taste this bad boy. Yes, highly recommended. Well done to me. That was fabulous. Sorry, Chef Shelley, I may have stolen it from you, but I'll totally give it back to you next week. Thanks everyone for joining us. DP for the win. Shout if you need anything. Allora. Cheers, everyone.